Welcome to the Marketing Boost Solutions Podcast. Join host Marco Torres, along with expert guests, as they deliver incredible, proven solutions to your marketing challenges in each power-packed episode.
Welcome back to the Marketing Boost Solutions Podcast. Today, I'm diving deep into a topic that can make or break your business. Successful networking. Whether you love it or loathe it, effective networking can be the key to unlocking new opportunities, building powerful connections that accelerate your growth. And who better to guide us through this than Michael Andrew Forman? Michael is a celebrated corporate speaker, networking strategist, and author of the book, Networking Unleashed. He's on a mission to turn networking into a practical and profitable art form, helping individuals and businesses create meaningful, high-impact connections that actually drive results, cash. Beyond his business expertise, Michael is also a Desert Storm veteran, bringing leadership, discipline, and a no-nonsense approach to his powerful presentations. He's based in Cumming, Georgia. He balances his thriving career with family life alongside his wife and 2 sons. Today, we're unlocking the secrets of how to properly network an event, from first impressions, follow-ups that actually convert. Guess what? If you've ever found yourself awkwardly holding a drink at a network event, unsure of what to say or how to stand out, this episode is for you. So buckle up and get ready to transform your networking game with expert insights from Michael Forman. And Michael, say hello.
Hello, and thank you for having me today.
You're very welcome. I'm excited to have this conversation with you today, Michael, as networking is, like one of my favorite Grant Cardone speakers often says, if your net worth is not growing, it may be time to change your network. So networking, who you know can make a huge difference, and who you know that you actually have a relationship with can make a huge difference on opportunities that come your way, whether you are ready and prepared to take action on those opportunities that come, and go quickly if you're not ready to move on the opportunities and the people you meet. So, Michael, let's get started. How did you get into becoming an expert at networking, and what inspired you to write a book on it?
Well, I went to the school of hard knocks. I made all the mistakes first before I actually got it right. And I learned, 100 years ago when I was in the service and I was a young troop, but I was high enough in rank where I had to tell people older than I was what to do and how to do it. That taught me one way to speak with them. Then I get out of the service and I got into my own businesses, pizzerias, restaurants, graphic design studios. Um, so I learned how to speak with the vendors, the customers, but I also learned how to speak to the employees. So all of this is doing the same thing, but networking in a different way. And I wound up being the director of sales for a law firm. And I became the face of the law firm and going on stages. I've been going on and off stages for about 10 years. I've been doing this full time without any other resource for about a year and a half. And it's really, I'm passionate about teaching and educating people about the full, what you can really get out of networking.
So, networking strategy and mindset, so to speak. Let me ask you on this headline there. Why do so many professionals struggle with networking? What's the biggest misconception about it?
Misconception, it really goes down to if you're an introvert or an extrovert. And you can do a lot of things for an extrovert. You can do just as many if you're an introvert, but you just have to add this little uh, one little extra step in it. And when you're an extrovert, you just go out into the middle of the room and you start talking to people. When you're an introvert, you're afraid of that first conversation, that first, how are you? My name is. And so that's where I developed a system and I call it having a wingman. So being an extrovert, you'll walk up to a table. Let's say you're at a networking event and you walk up to a table. What's the first thing that you do? Well, you don't do anything. You listen. You listen for the conversation of the table. Is this a conversation that I want to be a part of? If it's not, you haven't said a word yet. You very nicely bow out, go to the next table. But let's say that it is, and the conversation rolls around to you. Now, remember, you are the expert in your field. So what you say, people are going to listen. So whatever you say, whatever you come back with, figure there's 5 people at the table or so. About 2 or 3 of them will direct their conversation towards you, and then that's where you begin.
Hmm. Well, it seems like walking up to a table of five and throwing yourself into the conversation is even more, um, uh, what's the word I'm looking for? Even more,
Daunting.
yeah, daunting, or yeah, than maybe looking for the guy who's standing by himself in a corner and walk up to that one.
Well, no, you're absolutely right. But there's a whole different scenario for that person. Okay, so you have different mindsets for different people. Remember now, you're not saying a word when you're walking up to the table. You're letting the conversation come to you, so that helps you in a little bit.
Got it. Yeah, because I mean, I would consider myself an extrovert, but I wasn't always, and I'm not always. I mean, there's events where I can feel, I have felt, a little intimidated by the powerful people in the room versus another event where I feel like I'm one of the powerhouses. And so, if you're feeling like, hey, this is a room I can conquer, then that's a lot easier than when you walk in and you feel like everybody here is above my pay grade and everything else, and you're just like, a little intimidated. So talk about networking. You talk about networking as a practical and profitable art form. What are the first steps someone should take to network effectively? I mean, okay, you talked about walking up to a table, but more than, I mean, I guess there's pre-prep that should be going on as well. Tell us about that.
Well, it's different prep if you're going to a networking event or if you're speaking with somebody one on one, right? So if you're going to a networking event, then you do a little prep work. What is this show about? You get that flyer that they always hand out. You see where all the tables are. You think who you want to go see even after you network. Okay. So, you know, before every networking event, there's always that time where you mill around and talk with people and go and network with people. And then there's the tables. So you do that type of prep work. When you are meeting one on one, there's not a whole lot of time. You should find out what the company does, what the person does, and everything, so you can speak a little bit more intelligently with that person. But when you walk into their office or you're just walking into the networking event, I utilize something called FORM, FORM. That's family, occupation, recreation, and a message that you want to deliver to them. So there's an old saying, there's a mantra for networking. If they know you, if they like you, if they trust you, they'll do business with you. Know you, it's easy. You're a nice guy. Like you, that narrows down the field just a little bit. And trust you, trust is such a crucial factor in everything that you do, everything business, because face it, if the person doesn't trust you, they'll never do business with you. So what you're doing is you're going to meet with that person. And again, you're not going to talk. You should be thinking about giving, not receiving. If you go to a networking event thinking giving, then you're okay. If you're thinking about what can I do, what sale can I make, you're going to the wrong show. You shouldn't go to a networking. So what you do is when you're walking to the person, have the other person talk about themselves. People love to talk about themselves. They'll go on for 3 hours. Oh, that my family, my wife, my husband, my son, my daughter, whatever. And you just let them talk about themselves. And then as the conversation starts to move on, then you ask them about their occupation, and you ask them what they do, how they do it. And you're listening, very important, active listening, and then you pause after he finishes, he or she. Okay? What does that pause tell that person? That you were listening. You were listening to everything that he had said, and that you want to respond to something that he spoke about and not the next thing that you want to talk about. So he talks and talks and talks and say, something, I like you. I like the way you do business. How can I make you more successful? How can I be a good referral source for you? That usually blows him away. He goes, I haven't even asked you what you do for a living. I said, well, that's not as important. What can I do for you? And he'll tell you and everything. He'll say, by the way, do you have a business card? And what do you do? And then you'll go into what you talk about. But when he hands you that business card, it's very important. You write down the date, the name of the function, and something you spoke about, because all of that will come in very handy with the follow up. And the follow up is probably more important than actually meeting the person himself, herself.
Wow, great insights there. I've got a bunch of more questions for Michael
Sure.
coming up on networking. Let's take a moment here from our sponsor, Marketing Boost. We'll be right back. Don't go away.
It's time to wow, surprise, and impress your clients with the most powerful customer draw card available anywhere. The Marketing Boost Solutions Show is brought to you by Marketing Boost, where you can get valuable travel and restaurant incentives to drive your leads from prospects to paying customers. Now you can offer complimentary hotel stays in over 130 destinations worldwide. Go to marketingboostsolutions.com and try it for free right now.
You just heard from marketingboost.com. Folks, if you're in business for yourself and wondering how you might wow, surprise, and delight your contacts, your leads, your networking event prospects that you met, you might look at marketingboost.com, most affordable way that you can really have some powerful rewards, perks, gifts that you can give as thank you for meeting people and so on, just for meeting them at a networking event and so on. So there's a lot of ways to use Marketing Boost to enhance and reward your leads and prospects. So back to Michael Forman here as we talk about mastering networking at events, which can be intimidating. And I remember going to many events early on, and especially when I remember, like when I was first a realtor, this is many years ago. I tested out being a realtor and going to events and handing out cards, and I didn't even feel very confident in my own ability to be much of a realtor, and so it was all of that was intimidating. And I'm listening to you here about how, if you come across as a listener first and asking how I can help you, certainly then it turns the tables around on the client, on whoever you're talking to, for them to almost feel guilted into, well, let me hear about you and your business and how might I be able to help you too. And so then the networking can move forward. But when walking into a networking event, what's one of the best ways to approach people and start that meaningful conversation? I mean, uh, you look at people, you have no idea who they are, they don't know who you are, and even walking up and reaching out and with a handshake can feel very awkward when you don't know anybody in the room. How do you suggest we break that barrier in our own minds of starting conversations?
Well, a conversation starter can go in many ways. But if you walk up to somebody and comment on their blazer, their blouse, their shoes, everything, it's just like, wow, that's a really smart looking jacket you have on. Or I like those shoes. Where'd you get them? And it's just something off the cuff, and it usually takes them by surprise. Because in a networking event, they don't expect you to talk small talk. So that's really, oh, that's great. Oh, I bought over here, or this is like this. Say, well, that's pretty good. I'm Michael Forman. How you doing? What's your name? What do you do? And then just kind of break into it like that.
So that's a great suggestion there. Um, what would you say? How can professionals ensure they're networking with the right people rather than just collecting a bunch of business cards?
Well, that's the key right there. You have to, after you listen to what they do. Listen, I was in the mortgage industry for about 12 years when I was living in New York. And I used to go to networking events. I used to come home with a shoebox filled with business cards and say, look how great I did. How great did I really do? Because I didn't remember anybody inside that box. So my suggestion is to come back with 15, 20 business cards with all the information written on the back for the follow up. And the way that you can tell, you're really not, you're going to keep the cards that you're not interested in, but the ones that you're really interested in, you're going to keep that information on the back for your follow up. The people who aren't in your sites, you can hold on to their card, put them onto a drip campaign of sorts, and leave it at that. But the people you really want to create a relationship with, that's the people that you know that are in your sites.
Hmm. So, what are your thoughts on the elevator pitch? Is it still effective? Do you need to create a good elevator pitch, or should we be doing something different nowadays?
Okay, what's the purpose? Yes, it's still very important. Let me just answer your question. What's the purpose of an elevator speech? An elevator speech is to gain the attention and to have them respond to you. So, my elevator speech, I help professionals network and communicate more effectively and efficiently, thus creating more profits. Now, I don't just come out and say all that because, they'll like go blind. You want to really have your 30-second elevator speech to 5 seconds. I help people network and communicate. All you want is a response. All you want is them to say, what does that mean? Or what exactly do you do? Or something, anything, but get them to respond to you. And that's the purpose of a 30-second elevator speech. And you can follow it up with the rest of your elevator speech. I help professionals network and communicate more effectively and efficiently, thus creating more profits. And for me, when I say thus creating more profits, that usually raises an antenna and says, what do you mean raises my profits? And I can go on and on, but that's the reason.
Now, nowadays, just another quick question for you here. Nowadays, I've been to events where it seems like half the people don't have business cards anymore. They're all, a digital card, scan my QR code. I mean, I've actually done that myself, where I have a big thing around my neck I make for myself with my own digital QR code to scan, where get access to my digital card, all my links, my website links, my whatever I want to promote, and at the same time, I do carry a business card, and in my case, I don't know if you can see it. Let me uh,
I can see.
hang on a second
There
here.
you go.
Let's see if I can get back on screen. Whoop. If you're watching on YouTube here, guys, I'm just showing my business card on the screen. So I got my own picture on the front of the card, and it's a trifold card. Maybe it's overkill, but on my card, I've got it's like a mini brochure about everything I do. So when I do hand someone a card, it's got a QR code on the back as well, where they can get access to the pretty much me and direct calendar and so on and so forth. Is that something I mean, I don't know if I'm doing it right or wrong, but it seems to work for me. Do you recommend things like that, or uh, what other ideas would you have on making an impression that people might remember you?
Well, it really depends on the type of networking event that you go to. First of all, I always suggest carrying a business card, hard, paper, always, because you never know what's going to happen with electronics or anything else. And the last thing you want is to say, oh, I'm sorry, I don't have any business cards, and no way for me to give you my information. Now, having your business card with a QR code on the back, that's one more step that you can use, and it's very easy for them. For you to carry a QR code around your neck, that's almost as good, because it takes nothing for the person to pick up their camera, take a picture of the QR code, and are on their way. Okay, so that's not bad. I usually don't suggest having a business card like a mini brochure, because that's really kind of an overkill, and you want them to reach out to you, contact you, and you can then explain a little bit further what you do. But listen, if it's working for you, it's working for you. You don't change something that's working. So the idea of having a business card, and I do, I have business cards all over the place, but, and I also carry an electronic business card just for those people that just require it. But for the most part, I carry a regular business card with a QR code and say, that's how you can get a hold of me.
Right, right. All right. So tell us more about your book, Networking Unleashed. How long ago did you publish that? And what was the strategy behind that?
Well, this book is really an information dump. It's my years and years and years of putting networking information together and putting it into a book. Now, I've increased, I'm about to come out with the second book, and it's going to be twice as thick, because there are different nuances that I did not put into the first book. Um, but that's very, so I did the book, and I have a digital course also. By the way, you can get to my book and my digital course through my website. But the book itself, I use it as a lost leader. People want to buy my book, and people have, when I do workshops, the owners of the companies buy 20 copies, 30 copies, and hand it out to all the people. And then I go in and teach a class. So it's kind of like a preliminary step before their networking class, and I can go on further from that. But the my wife and I really, I wanted to write something. I wanted to write the book. My wife helped me. She's a graphic designer, very good one, by the way. She helped me put it all together, and um, and that was it.
Folks, if you're watching us on YouTube or Rumble, we are showing right now michaelaforman.com, where you can reach out and find Michael Forman and get him as a public speaker for your next event, networking event. You got realtors, you got insurance agents, you got stuff like that. You might want to get them on the team, get them speaking to your group, helping everybody improve their networking skills, etc. So we'll be right back. We're going to talk to Michael Forman. I got a bunch of more questions on how to improve your networking. We're going to hear from Automation Booster, and we'll be right back.
Is your business on autopilot yet? Do you have automation in place to capture, nurture, and convert prospects into clients via email, SMS, ringless voicemails, appointment setting? Get all the inbound and outbound marketing tools in one place. Go to marketingboostsolutions.com for more on automating your business so you can make money while you sleep.
You just heard from automationbooster.com. What is that, guys? If you're in business for yourself and you don't have a CRM system, if you're not having, don't have everything automated in today's world, you're really behind the curve. I mean, there's never been a better time to be an entrepreneur, especially with the technologies available to easily build your sales funnels, your web pages, set up automation for lead generation. When you capture a lead, what are you doing to nurture it? Are you manually sending emails, or are you creating a pre-established workflow so you can send emails and text messages and ringless voicemails to follow up with those prospects, get them back into your funnel, get them reminding them of who you are, working on delivering content that is valuable to those prospects and turning them into, showing that you're the authority, the expert, and eventually you're turning them into a client. That is what Automation Booster can do for you. I've been an internet marketer since 1986. I've never seen a product that has everything you need for inbound and outbound marketing under one umbrella for as affordable as automationbooster.com. So go check it out. And now we're back with Michael Forman here on networking and how to improve that, how to be successful at networking, which can be, I mean, many events you can go to. If you don't do it right, you just kind of, maybe you learned a few things with the speakers that were there, but did you really take away anybody powerful to follow up with? And did you bother to follow up? And that's the next thing. Tell us about the follow up, Michael. What's the best strategy for good follow up that reminds people of the conversations you had with them, and so on?
I call this my secret sauce because this is probably, like I said in the beginning of the podcast, more important than actually meeting the person because the follow up is so very important. I had a conversation with somebody and I said, oh, at a networking event, I said, how do you follow up with all these people? He said, well, tomorrow I'm going to send them an email. Then I'm going to wait 4 days or 5 days and I'll send another email. I said, oh, okay, that's fine. And I moved on, knowing fully well that that wasn't what I do. My my follow up is very strategic. So let's take it down. When now this is utilizing the business card with the date, the name of the function, and something you spoke about. I did all that for a reason. And the reason is as soon as I get back to my house or my office, depending on when the networking event was, I write a thank you email. Hey, Marco, this is Michael. I want to thank you for the time you spent with me. Have a good luck, Michael. That's it. Nothing more, no business, nothing else. And I send the email. Now, that's that night. You have about a 20% chance of them responding to your email. The next morning, I write a handwritten thank you note. Get that? A handwritten. I have about 50 of them in my briefcase. Handwritten thank you note. Hey, Marco, this is Michael. I met you at such and such date, such and such an event. We spoke about your husband, wife, son, daughter, whatever. Hope to do business with you soon, Michael. And I send it off. So after about 3 or 4 days, giving the mail time to get to that person, imagine being the person that receives that thank you note, sitting at your desk, opening it up and say, wow, that's Michael. I remember him. Now I will be top of mind with that person. So now I just raised your 20% chance to a 50% chance. Now, people in the corporate world would kill for a 50% chance of them responding to your email. But I go a step further. In 4 days, if I haven't received anything back from him or not, from you or not, hey, Marco, this is Michael. I met you on such and such date at such an affair. We spoke about your son, your husband, wife, sister, brother, son, whatever. Uh, I hope everything is going well. Michael, I mentioned business, but we're not doing business. That just gave you another email from me, keeping me top of mind. Now, 2 days later, if you haven't responded to this, hey, Marco, this is Michael. I saw you on such and such date. Now I'm repeating everything that I said before: date, name of the function, what we spoke about. Hey, Marco, this is Michael. I saw such date, such time, such fair. We spoke about your wife or daughter, whatever. I just looked at my calendar. Tuesday and Wednesday of next week seem to be free. How about meeting one of those days? Michael. And send it off. Now, I just bumped your 50% up to about a 70% chance of responding to that email. So, all right. Still, let's say you didn't respond to me. I wait another 2 days, 3 days tops. Hey, Marco, this is Michael. I met you on such date, such event. We spoke about your husband, wife, son, daughter, whatever. I said Tuesday and Wednesday look pretty free. Tuesday seems to be filling up for me. How's Wednesday, Michael? I just upped it from about 70% to about 75%. Now, I don't really want to go above 75% because nobody really knows. Um,
Now, let me ask you a
but
question. You do
sure,
that with everybody that you met and got a business card for, or you do that for the ones that you found? Okay, here's my top 20% of the people that I think there's a good fit that they have something to help each other with.
I'm only going to take 15 or 20 business cards from the entire event. I'm not taking those massive amounts of cards anymore because my time is money. My time is worth money. So I'm not going to spend time with you or talking to you or something like that if I don't see light at the end of the tunnel. So I'm only doing this with 15 or 20 business cards. So I'm doing it with all 15 or 20.
So that's a good question. So you met someone, you chit chatted for a while, you realize there's nothing that really interests you, and okay, you might be able to help them, but that's not what your main goal is to be there. You do want to be able to reciprocate. So if I help you, how can you help me? Whether it be maybe we do business together, maybe you can refer me to somebody, maybe we can collaborate on something based on what we talked about. And so if you didn't find the connection during the quick networking conversation, how do you bow out without being rude?
Very simple. At the you find that pause in that conversation, say, hey, look, this is a pretty big place. Let me get and speak to a bunch of other people. I'll get back with you soon. And on the back of their card, I'll put like a little red X, saying that's really not the person I'm going to talk with. But you never throw away somebody's contact information. You take it back and you put it into your CRM and you make it into a drip campaign. Once a
Fair
month
enough.
or so,
So you
you
still want
send
to
an
get
email out.
you still want to get everybody's cards if they're willing to give you one. It just becomes kind of like the X on the back. This is probably not a good fit, so you don't bother to do all the
Exactly. And you
personal.
never know. You
Yeah,
never know because somebody from that pile may turn around one day and say, Michael, I could really use your services.
right.
But because I've sent them something once a month or until they tell me not to, uh, I'm keeping myself top of mind.
So you send that handwritten thank you notes. Are you doing that handwritten, or are you using the new technology nowadays where you can, uh, you know, uh, put in the
Either
street
or.
address and everything, and it'll kind
It's
of handwrite it, make it look like a handwritten postcard or email, or rather a letter, and they do the shipping and the drop ship for you.
handywritten.com.
Yeah, that's the one
That's
I'm thinking
okay,
of.
right. Okay. So yeah, I use it's about 50/50. Depends on where they are. If they're from a faraway land, I'll probably use the handywritten.com. If they're close enough, I'll probably handwrite it because I know that they'll get it sooner.
Got it. So, can you share a personal success story or one of your clients where networking led to a game changing opportunity?
Well, I one of my businesses, I was a broker for printing, and this woman walked through my storefront, and I was like, okay, my the girl in the front was taking care of her, and I can hear the voices become elevated. So I walked out and I said, I'll take care of this. And all she was like some dopey announcement or something like that, like a $15 sale. But I took my time and I went through it with her. I got just what she wanted to say. I got a proof back. It wasn't right. I did all over again. I got a proof back. It wasn't right. I did all over again. I got the proof, but 2 days later, I got proof back. It wasn't right. And I was like, okay, look, I can only do this so many times, but I'm willing to help you. And on and on and on. She ordered it. They came back fine. When she came to pick them up, a portly guy with a huge stogie comes in. I said, "Can I help you?" And he goes, "Yeah, I'm with her." I said, oh, "Okay." He laughed and he goes, "May I have your name?" I said, "Michael Forman. I'm the owner." He goes, "I have to tell you something. any person that can put up with my wife and treat her as well as you did deserves a break. Here's my card. He was the CEO of Merck Pharmaceuticals, and I got $100,000 worth of business for 3 years.
Wow,
So
that's a
you
good story.
never know who you're going to meet. That's why you should really be nice to everybody.
Let me ask you this question. What role do you think social media now plays in modern networking? And how can you use platforms like LinkedIn or Instagram, Facebook to strengthen those connections of people you met in person?
Well, as soon as you meet somebody that you're interested in keeping their card, you go out, and I call that a soft touch. You go out and connect with them, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. Okay. You go in and you either like them or ask to follow them or something else. Just make that connection. Um, it's very important. Like with me, I'm a podcast host as well as a speaker. And what I use Opus Clips. I divvy up my podcast or my speaking engagements into 50 different clips, and I post it every day on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. I put the whole thing on YouTube. So it's very important. It should not be the only way that you network or advertise or anything else like that, but it is a piece just for branding. All right. So there's a lot of times when you see a huge billboard and you see an attorney and all you see is his name, no telephone number, no fax number, no cell number, no anything, no address, just the name. And that's just for branding, right? So you know of his name. Well, utilize the same thing, the same concept with social media. And you go, now, if you want, now, again, I have a digital course and I have an ad that I place on social media and I say how to get it. So yes, you can do business, but I use it as a speaker, um, as really a branding situation.
So you're out starting out in business or you've been in business for a while. What are your what's a good go-to method to stand out in a crowded industry where everyone is networking? I mean, is there any magic bullet? I mean, I'm not looking for a magic bullet, but you know what I mean. Is there any something that you do you wear something flashy or is there anything that you might recommend to help stand out in a crowded space?
Well, it's actually a very easy question. Consistency. Okay, if you remain consistent, and I don't mean do it for a week, do it for 2 weeks. I mean a normal uh, a normal amount of time is 3 months, 6 months. For just a certain ad to resonate with the public. So, but consistency and be authentic, be yourself. Okay, there's no reason to to say anything else because you're going to be found out. If you're not authentic, you'll be found out. If you're not consistent, then some people won't even see you at all because of your inconsistencies. So if you're consistent, I post twice a day on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube every day. So I've gotten 600, 1,000, 1,500 impressions just because I'm consistent. And
Hmm.
that's my only suggestion is to remain consistent, you know, do a message or anything else, have your logo showing. Because once people see that logo, people see that coloration. My color, as you can see in my background, is blue and light blue. My business card is blue and light blue, right? So my logo is that just that. So everything that I do has those colors and has that logo. And consistency will prove to be better than anything else.
Cool. Guys, I'm really excited to tell you about one of my newest products that we're launching any day now, and it's called trustbyreviews.com. Right now, the beta version is out. You can go check it out. But if you're in business, you know what you need? Harvard studies show that 70% of buyers look for reviews about your product or service before taking action. And they're looking for multiple things about those reviews. Are you getting them? Are you getting them consistently? If your last review was 6 months ago, that's a negative. They're looking for fresh, relevant, ongoing, consistent reviews coming into your platform. Are you displaying them on your website? Is it easy to find reviews about your product and service? And are you publishing them on multiple platforms? Like, are you pushing these reviews that you get? Are you asking your clients to put them on Google Reviews, Facebook, Trustpilot, uh, SiteJabber, Shopper Approved, and so forth? Trust by Reviews platform can help you in all in one place, solicit reviews on a consistent basis, and then get them pushed to all of the different third party review sites, which will help your SEO when people search for your business, for your name, for your brand. Google will be forced to push you up as they see all these reviews coming in on multiple third party review sites. So check out trustbyreviews.com, where we show you how to solicit more reviews and even reward them for example, for publishing a video testimonial or publishing on multiple third-party review sites. We plug in the marketing boost incentives that you might use to reward or incentivize clients to post multiple reviews. So check it out, trustbyreviews.com. We're back with Michael Forman here talking about uh, networking and how to do it successfully. And this is something that any business can use, whether you're big, small, just getting started. You need to be networking and getting your brand out, meeting people, and finding ways to work with others, collaborate, find clients, etc. So, Michael, back to you. As a Desert Storm veteran, how has your military experience shaped your approach to networking and leadership?
As I said in the beginning, I was a young guy. Like I said, about 100 years ago. Um, I was in my 20s. I was high enough in rank where I had people under me, and it was trying to figure out how to tell these people what to do and how to do it without them being upset. Okay, so between that and going between my different squadrons, it was all about networking, all about how I treated the other people and how they remembered me. And if you think about that in a networking world, how you treat people and how they remember you goes a long way.
uh, if someone was just getting started with whatever business or profession they're in, direct sales, etc., with intentional networking today, what's one action step they should take immediately? I mean, how do you even know what networking events to go to? How do what where do you where should someone start if they were looking to start getting their personal brand and start meeting people?
Well, that's easy also. Every town, every city has a chamber of commerce. Join the Chamber of Commerce because they have weekly meetings, they have after hours meetings, ribbon cuttings, everything else. And that is the best way to get to know, plus there are people in your area, get to know other businesses, usually small businesses. Um, but it's a great way to hone your craft, to be able to speak about what you do eloquently. So it's not just, well, let me stutter step and, that's going to happen. Listen, everybody's going to be lousy in the beginning. You get better. Networking is a skill and you have to get better by it. And the one thing that I would say for everybody that's listening, remember those thank you cards. If you write a thank you card and if you're just starting out, and you've just met somebody or just had a meeting with somebody, write that thank you card, send it to them. It will go a long way.
That's great. And I want to give you an idea as well that a lot of our insurance agents have been using for years with Marketing Boost. They do they use Marketing Boost to network in a different way, to take their sales hat off, and they offer the Marketing Boost incentives to local nonprofit fundraising events, high school football fundraising drives. you name it. They're looking for opportunities to go in and say, hey, folks, we'd like to sponsor your fundraising event, and we're going to give you a half a dozen of these complimentary hotel stays that you'll be able to sell raffle tickets for or auction them off at your live event. You keep all the money. We just want to sponsor your event and give you these complimentary hotel stays, and here's how you can use them, etc. All we ask for is the opportunity at the event to one, to explain how these incentives work, and two, give our elevator pitch to everybody in the room about what we do and how we do it. And so now they're at the event and they're seen as a philanthropist. They provided 6 complimentary hotel stays to Cancun that are being auctioned off. They get a chance to rub shoulders with other philanthropists that are donating or purchasing or auctioning and participating in the bidding, and then they get a chance to walk around the room, meet everybody, tell everybody what they do, trade business cards, and it's just a different way of networking where they're aren't don't have the typical salesman hat on. They went in as the philanthropist, as the donor, as the sponsor of the fundraiser, and they're looked at in different eyes. So a very powerful networking idea that I just shared with you there. Michael, do you see how that could work for folks out there that are looking for ways to, turn a fundraiser into a networking event?
Absolutely. That's a great idea. That's a great idea, especially if somebody's just starting out, then they can get up in front of a number of people, be the big guy, be the king, and say, look, I'm giving you 6 rooms, but give them your elevator speech, and they will listen to you a little bit more intently because you're giving them so much that you'll have the room for yourself. What you do with the room is up to you, but I think it's a great way for somebody to make a segue into their business.
It's worked for hundreds of insurance agents that are doing this on a daily basis and sponsoring everything from police events to teachers events to fundraisers and so on. Closing question I got for you, Michael. If listeners could take away one golden nugget from this conversation, what would you hope that is?
Well, I hope that they will take away that they should be themselves, be present, be authentic, because that is the beginning of networking. And just remember the mantra: know you, like you, trust you, they'll do business with you. And unless you're authentic, you cannot be trusted. So they work hand in hand.
Folks, you can find and get a hold of Michael Forman at michaelaforman.com. michaelaforman.com. We're looking at the page if you happen to be watching YouTube or Rumble. And on this page, you can follow him on his podcast. You can reach out and set an appointment to chat with him. You can order his book and next book coming out, etc. So check out the links are down below in all the show notes, michaelaforman.com. If you like the content we brought you today, and I can't see how you wouldn't, this has been great, Michael. I really appreciate your sharing your insights on something as simple and powerful that every business and every salesman and everyone looking to build their personal brand needs to network more often and more effectively. And again, you can go get Networking Unleashed, the book. Again, links to that are down in the show notes below. Folks, we really want to tell you we love you for paying attention and watching our show. I really appreciate you joining us. If you like the content we brought you, don't forget to subscribe to the show. Give us a like, ask any questions or comments in the show notes below, and share this, please, with somebody. Share this with another entrepreneur who might be struggling with networking or just getting started in business and needs to figure out how to start getting that elevator pitch practiced over and over. And what you can't one of the best ways to get over your fear of what it is you're doing in your new career or your old career or whatever is to polish that elevator pitch. Get the book Networking Unleashed. Educate yourself, polish your elevator pitch, polish your skill set at networking, and then the follow up, as Michael pointed out, the follow up with the email, the written, handwritten notes, maybe a text message or two, and follow up and make it make sense that you spent time at that event, and then now you're here to help that person. How can I help you? How can I refer you? Who are you looking for? Let's get together and chat. Jump on my calendar and so forth. And if you take it with my suggestion on networking is if you can present yourself as I'm here to help you, and I'm sure there's ways you can help me, where it's not, how can I help you buy my insurance product? You know, it's like I'm here to sell. And if you come across as, hey, this is all about me, sell, 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 they're not going to follow up with you. If that's what they remembered of you of the conversation, you were Mr. Salesman, they're not going to be responding to your messages. They're not interested in buying from you. They're interested in a relationship and seeing how we might collaborate, how we might help each other, et cetera, et cetera. So, Michael, did I get anything wrong about summarizing some of what your networking unleashed is all about?
No, you did a great job. And just remember, people love to buy, but they hate to be sold to.
And nothing happens until somebody sells something. So in life, by the way, another thing, people fear being a salesman. And in reality, I don't care what you do, you are a salesman, whether you like it or not. If you're a dentist, doctor, lawyer, if you're not selling, you're not getting new clients. So you've got to be finding a way to get people to like and trust you and be ready to do business with you. So networking is a big part of that. It helps you hone that skill that you can then do on whether you're using it on a Zoom call that you met with somebody or meeting them live in person and leaving that impression. It's been a pleasure to have you folks listening to us today. We really, again, thank you. Like, subscribe, and share this episode. Michael, any last words of wisdom?
Oh, just thank you very much for the opportunity and thank you for being on the podcast.
Thank you, folks, for listening again. Like, share, and subscribe. And we'll see you on the next episode of the Marketing Boost Solutions podcast. Thank you. You should see one of those next episodes right here or right here. Click to watch the next one. Thank you very much.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Marketing Boost Solutions Podcast with your hosts, Captain Marco Torres. Now it's on you. Take the next step now. Go to marketingboostsolutions.com for more on how you can wow, delight, and surprise your clients with the most amazing draw card on the planet. So stay thirsty, my friends. Stay thirsty for knowledge. See you next time.